That's not a relationship. That's a hostage negotiation where you're the only one giving things up.
Well, you can say that. You're crazy. I can't believe you went down that avenue, actually.
The realization that the acceptance you were so proud of was really just tolerance.
Oh, no!
And let's be blunt. Tolerance is just a polite word for enduring shitty behavior.
But the pain of letting go is temporary. And the pain of staying stuck in a one-sided relationship, that pain is permanent. Just a quick note. We believe in the power of growth. And the stories and discussions you hear are designed to help you audit your life, emotionally and creatively. By examining choices, not tearing down people, our focus is empowering you to move forward with better information and perspective. So, what are you waiting for? Let's go. Let's start again. Welcome back to the Fiesta Life Podcast. Not back. And, this is Brian, Christian, and...
Hey, Brian. It's great to be here.
Brianna X Tina in the studio with me today.
Hey, it's Brianna. But hey, Brian, it's great to be here. Emily, we're starting...
Okay, so today we're setting aside the usual format, and I've been doing a lot of thinking and a lot of processing, and I want to talk about something intense, something I know that a lot of you are going through. We're going to talk about relationships, and we're going to talk about boundaries, and we're going to talk about the high price of keeping the peace. All right, before anything else, listen up, people. I've got here TJ on the other line, who is the mediator that I consulted, and he is going to be our subject matter expert today, and he will be explaining the background, and just so you have a better context of the whole situation. Hey TJ, how are you doing? Please go ahead and let's jump right into it and let everyone know what exactly happened when I consulted you and what were the actions that we've taken. So go ahead, take them away. TJ, go ahead, buddy. All right, let's give him a few minutes.
You're right, let's dive straight in. The background, a perfect storm of stress and misalignment. When you first brought me in, you were in the middle of what I would call a perfect storm. First, the context. You were already under significant personal and financial stress. Your cognitive load was at 100%. You were managing a financial crisis, spinning up new businesses, and trying to recover from a separate 4,000 peso financial loss. You were in a high vulnerability, low tolerance state. Second, the irritant. The conflict began with low stakes but logistically erratic communication from your friend. There was a fragmented conversation about an air purifier and a meetup. Given your high stress state, your hard requirement was clarity. You needed communication to be simple, direct, and efficient. What you got was the opposite, which created unnecessary friction. Third, the escalation. This is the core of the issue. When you set a simple, logical boundary, declining a new, inefficient 2,000 peso expense because of your current financial state, the situation escalated. Instead of acknowledging your boundary, retaliated. He deployed what I call a verbal bomb. He shifted the entire context of the argument away from the air purifier and made it about a completely separate historical debt of around 5,000 pesos. The root cause. This is what your audience needs to understand. This conflict was not about the 2,000 pesos or the 5,000 pesos. It was a fundamental breakdown of relational systems. You were attempting to have a dialogue, a collaborative effort to solve a logistical problem. Your friend responded with a debate, a competitive move designed to win the argument by any means necessary. He weaponized a past debt to invalidate your current, and very real, financial crisis. That act, the timing and intent of it, is what I identified as the critical stab wound. The actions we took, a three-step mediation process. Our goal was not to win the fight. The goal was to end the destructive pattern and move you from a reactive position to a proactive one. We had to regain control. We executed a clear three-step plan. Step 1, triage and de-escalation. My first action was to stop the bleeding. You were justifiably angry and hurt. The temptation was to send a long, emotional, multi-page text defending yourself. I advised against this. A reactive message would have only escalated the debate and given away your power. Our first move was to do nothing, to intentionally disengage from the fight he had started. Step 2, issue isolation. Next, we had to clinically separate the issues. He had bundled 3 distinct issues into one weapon. 1, the air purifier, a trivial, new logistical problem. 2, the historical debt, a valid but separate financial matter to be handled with a clear payment plan, not as a tool for emotional blackmail. 3, the attack itself, the act of him lashing out and invalidating your crisis. This was the real injury. By unbundling these, we could see the situation clearly. Step 3, the option A developed option B boundary. Finally, once the emotion was drained, we drafted a single, clear, PR-safe message. This was the adult response. It didn't accuse, it simply stated the facts of the dynamic and offered 2 clear paths forward. Option A, We have an adult dialogue to resolve this based on mutual respect and accountability. Option B. We acknowledge this dynamic is broken and amicably separate, ending the pattern of conflict. We sent that message and then transferred all accountability to him. The final action was to observe. As we know, he chose option C, silence. That silence in itself was the definitive answer. It confirmed the reciprocity failure and gave you the clarity and the freedom to move forward.
All right. So thank you so much, TJ, for sharing that with us. And so, guys, that's what happened a week or 2 Sundays ago. So,
Brian, this is a textbook case of how high-stakes stress can fracture even the strongest relationships. Let's break it down clinically. The background, the disruption of the happy path. To understand the conflict, we have to look at what should have happened versus what did happen. The ideal baseline, you and were best friends. That's the tragedy here. The happy path should have been simple. You encounter a problem, you collaborate, you solve it. But the environment you were in made that impossible. The pressure cooker. You were operating in a crisis mode. You were running on a bridge fund, effectively operating on a negative balance. You were working double time just to break even. When you are managing loan money, your role shifts. You aren't just a friend, you are a fiduciary. You have a responsibility to protect that capital. The trigger. The tension spiked because of a specific financial hit. A peso loss that fell under accountability. Because you were operating on that bridge fund, you couldn't just let it slide. You had to act in the best interest of financial management. You needed to stop the bleeding. The spark. You attempted to manage the situation, but the communication from his side was flawed and unclear. Naturally, you expressed frustration, not at him as a person, but at the lack of clarity. The shift. This is where the rails came off. Instead of seeing your frustration as a valid response to a financial loss, took it personally. He interpreted your demand for operational clarity as an attack on his character. His response was impulsive. He shifted the dynamic from problem-solving to self-defense. He abandoned the issue at hand, the loss, and retaliated, creating the conflict we are dealing with now. The actions we took restoring order. Once we identified that the dynamic had shifted from collaboration to combat, we had to execute a new strategy. Step 1. Triage in silence. Your instinct was to explain yourself, to defend your position. I advised against it. You were angry, and rightfully so. But in negotiation, he who speaks first loses. We needed to stop the reactive cycle immediately. We chose strategic silence to de-escalate the immediate emotional volatility. Step 2. Separation of issues. We had to untangle the mess. We separated the emotional reaction from the financial reality. 1. The loss. This remains a valid operational debt. 2. The relationship. This was the casualty. We refused to let him muddy the waters by conflating the two. Step 3. The closure protocol. Finally, we drafted a single, definitive message. We didn't ask for permission. We set a boundary. We offered 2 paths. Path A. Return to the adult dialogue and resolve the finances logically. Path B. Accept that the communication pattern is toxic and part ways. By sending that message, you reclaimed your authority. You stopped chasing clarity and started enforcing it. And as we've seen, his silence since then was the loudest answer he could have given.
Well, thank you, TJ, for explaining that. And I think that pretty much paints and lets our audience know what exactly am I talking about here, and that would give this will give them the context of what really happened, and now what we're trying to do is to really find the learnings that we can get from the situation. So instead of it being a very, I guess I've mastered the art of turning chaos into something beneficial. And so thank you,
Brian. You can't learn from a situation until you honestly define it. We've stripped away the noise and laid out the mechanics of the breakdown. Now that the narrative is clear, the real value is in the autopsy, extracting the wisdom from this pain so you and your listeners don't have to pay this tuition fee twice. The floor is yours.
Fiesta Life with Brian Christian. Stay tuned for new episodes weekly.
Keeping the peace. Analyze that. Is it really peace, or is it just one person paying that high price, like you said, just so everyone else gets to be comfortable? That doesn't sound like peace. It sounds like martyrdom. No. And honestly, who is that really helping in the long run?
Well, you know what? You're right. I'm glad that we're going to be talking about this one today.
I usually am. But okay, let's get specific. When you say you've been thinking and processing, what's the real trigger here? Where did you see someone? Or was it you? Pay that high price and finally realize it was just a total ripoff. What boundary got obliterated?
Well, you know what? Sometimes, like in many situations, like it's always me who's going to be the designated adult It's always me who's going to adjust and the one who always has to understand. All right, so this is kind of a personal topic for me because I'm kind of talking about a personal experience, but I mean, I'm not going to get into details, but it's pretty much a situation wherein you're always got to be the person who needs to adjust. You're always the one who's going to understand, and you are always the one who's going to have to fold in and ask for forgiveness because that's the way it is. That's the dynamic. And sometimes you get to a point where you learn how to accept someone for who he or she is, and that's just the way it is.
Back up. Are we talking about acceptance or are we talking about surrender? Because that's just the way it is sounds a lot like giving up. You're describing a dynamic where one person is constantly breaking their own boundaries just so the other person doesn't have to grow? I'm not convinced. What's the human cost of that? How long can you understand and adjust before you look in the mirror and you don't even recognize the person you've become? That's not a relationship. That's a hostage negotiation where you're the only one giving things up.
You're crazy. I can't believe we went down that avenue, actually. But here we are. We're in this avenue, so we might as well dive right into it.
I raise an eyebrow, not really laughing with you. Hey, we laugh because it's true, right? Or maybe because it's so absurdly painful. Laughing is the only other option besides screaming. So yeah, we're on this avenue. Let's park here for a second. You describe this person who's always the one to fold in and ask for forgiveness. My question is, why? What's the logic there? Is the fear of conflict really worse than the slow grinding misery of being the permanent adjuster? What are they actually afraid is going to happen if, just once, they don't fold?
All right, wait up. I am the one who's always folding. I am the one who's going to understand, to forgive. And it's getting kind of tiring. And I think that what exactly do we want to get out of this conversation? I mean, what do we want to expose, highlight?
Okay, so this isn't theoretical. This is you. You're the one who's tiring. You ask what we want to highlight? That right there. The exhaustion. Tiring that's a polite word, isn't it? Let's analyze it. It's not just, I need a nap. It's, I'm losing myself. It's the bone-deep weariness that comes from your boundaries being treated like suggestions. So maybe the point we're trying to expose is the lie we tell ourselves. The lie that keeping the peace is noble, when really, it's just self-abandonment in a pretty dress. My question back to you is, what are you really afraid will happen if you just stop? If you just once said, no, I'm not adjusting, I'm not folding, you deal with it?
Well, that's exactly where I am now. I mean, I'm like, this is not the way I want this friendship to be. After receiving a message that's pretty much uncalled for, then I decided that this is not, it's either we fight like this or we talk like this or we talk like adults here. Because at the end of the day, I want to have adult conversations. I want to have normal conversations wherein you don't have to fight or you don't have to lash out against each other and say hurtful things to each other.
My skepticism softens just a bit, replaced by curiosity. Okay, so this isn't just an observation anymore. This is you, right now, drawing a line in the sand. That's a huge shift from being the one who always folds. But let's analyze this. You're saying it's either we fight or we talk like adults. My blunt question is, why do you think the other person is even capable of that adult conversation? I mean, they sent an uncalled for message. That is lashing out. That is the fight. You're asking for a normal conversation, but it sounds like their normal is conflict. What makes you think this time, when you demand that adult talk, they won't just see it as another invitation to throw down? What's the actual plan here?
Well, what we want to do right now is to dive deep into this and understand the situation. The core, core of the situation is, I want to dive deep into like the psychology of things. What does psychology say? I mean, why are people like this? I mean, it's not selfish. It's the first step. It's what psychologists call a reciprocity failure, right? Sometimes you're the only one doing everything in this relationship, and you ends up being one-sided. I mean, right?
Okay, reciprocity failure. That's a clean clinical term for what feels like, getting emotionally robbed, right? But let's analyze that. You're right, it's one-sided. But that failure doesn't just happen in a vacuum. It's a system. It takes two people to build that broken dynamic. One person who just takes ooh, and one person who lets them. So let's dive deep like you said. You called it selfish. Is it just selfishness? Or are they just wired? More importantly, what about the psychology of the person who accepts that failure? The one who keeps doing everything in the relationship? Why do they keep their pockets picked? What's the human cost for them of never seeing that reciprocity?
Okay, so let's first define this, okay? So it's an imbalance. It's a complete imbalance. One person is doing all the emotional work and all the accountability. So we stay because of a flawed belief system. There's that belief system that you have. We confuse acceptance with tolerance. So accepting, okay, I have to accept the fact that he's really like this. So I just will tolerate it up until that point in time when you realize that, does this person even care about me? And that's the painful truth, actually. It's a painful truth that I had to experience.
It's the real gut punch, isn't it? That painful truth right there. The realization that the acceptance you were so proud of was really just tolerance. And let's be blunt. Tolerance is just a polite word for enduring shitty behavior. You're right, that's a sharp distinction. Acceptance is, I see you for who you are, flaws and all. Tolerance is, I will let you treat me poorly because I've decided that's just who you are. You said it's a flawed belief system. So let's analyze that. Where does that system even come from? Who taught us that being a good friend or a good partner means you have to be a human doormat? What's the payoff for confusing the two? Is it just avoiding a lonely-sounding alternative?
That's such a very difficult question you threw there. And it kind of stings a little bit. And what I realized the other day is it's about time for me to learn the art of traveling light. Because sometimes these kinds of things, these kinds of belief systems that you allow or you believe, I think they're meant to be broken, and they're meant to be, sometimes when enough is enough, sometimes it's just unfair. You just cannot, a person cannot just treat anyone with no respect at all, or does not even try to communicate properly with someone, and then would lash out and hurt someone. You know, I mean, if you think about it like this, we're friends. Why would you do something that will hurt your friends? I mean, right? Because I mean, I've always been caring and concerned, but to say something to hurt the person is just, to me, it's mind-blowing. It's so disappointing, but then it is what it is. And I think it's time to end that pattern.
Travel, because that's the real crux that you had to carry them. Because, let's be blunt, you can drop this one person, but if you don't drop that flawed belief system, you're just going to pick up another heavy suitcase at the next stop. You hit the core emotional question, why would you do it? That's the mind-blowing part, isn't it? In their definition, convenient place to lash out, are not even in the same universe. So you say it's time to end that pattern. I'm 100%. What does that actually look like? How do you do that? What's the practical first step to traveling light today?
You know what? How that would be like, I think the practical way of dealing with this is identifying those BS or bullshit, but or belief systems that we allow ourselves to be blinded with, that we make certain decisions. Because sometimes logically, when you think about it, relationships shouldn't be complicated. Being friends with someone shouldn't be complicated. So the mere fact that you're in a relationship that kind of complicates things, that makes it harder for you to communicate, it kind of makes me question, like, why is he doing this, right? Does he like seeing the people around him suffer? I mean, I don't know if this is being done on purpose, or is this a mental disorder or a behavioral disorder? I mean, but the first step really is to break that belief systems that I have, that this isn't supposed to be. I'm supposed to break that belief systems that I should not allow anyone to treat me poorly. I mean, I'm sorry, but it kind of hurts when I think about it.
Okay, BS, belief system or bullshit. It's fitting on both levels. But let's analyze what you just did. You started by saying the first step is identifying your BS. And then, in the very next breath, you swerved right into trying to diagnose him. Why is he doing this? Is it a mental disorder? Does he like to see people suffer? Why? Why does his why matter at all? Isn't that just another one of those flawed belief systems? This idea that if you could just understand his motive, the disrespect would suddenly make sense or hurt less. You already have the core fact. He's treating you poorly. He's hurting you. Whether he's a clinical narcissist, insecure, or just a garden variety asshole, the outcome for you is exactly the same. You said the new belief is, I should not allow anyone to treat me poorly. That's the whole ballgame. So forget his psychology. Why are we still trying to find a logical reason for his illogical behavior? Isn't that just another way of tolerating it?
I just felt like you slapped me on the face.
Look, Sometimes the truth feels like a slap in the face, especially when it's the one you've been avoiding looking at. But let's be real. That jolt you just felt? That's what's supposed to happen. That's the feeling of breaking the pattern. It's uncomfortable to stop analyzing him and start focusing on you. It's way easier to play detective and try to figure out his disorder than it is to sit with the pain and ask, why did I let this happen for so long? So yeah, maybe it was a slap, but the real question is, did it wake you up?
Definitely woke me up and shook my world. But then let's wrap this up. So
Hard to swallow is better than choking on a lie, right? And I'm not here to co-sign the bullshit. My closing thought is this. We love to use that phrase, keeping the peace, but let's analyze that for what it really is. If the peace you're keeping requires your silence, your boundaries to be obliterated, and your self-respect to take the hit, it's not peace. It's an extortion fee, and it's time to stop paying. Till next time.
all right, well, thanks for your time. So this was a heavy one, and but it's a conversation that we needed to have, actually, that I needed to have. So my final thought on this is choosing to travel light is not an easy path. It hurts acknowledging the destructive pattern of in someone you care, someone you value, one of the most painful, heartbreaking things you can do. But the pain of letting go is temporary. And the pain of staying stuck in a one-sided relationship, that reciprocity failure that we talked about earlier, where you are the only one who's accountable and where you're the only one trying to have a dialogue, pain is permanent. So I'm choosing to end the pattern, and I'm choosing to build a life based on a dialogue of mutual respect. And, right now, I just choose to heal. And the goal isn't to be right. That's always something that I keep in my mind and in my heart in any given conflict. The goal isn't to be right. The goal is to be at peace. And you have to choose yourself. You have to choose peace. So it is difficult to be experiencing these kinds of drama in a relationship. That's a fact. And it's heavy. But I've been thinking, I want to focus on how to empower myself right now, because I'm thinking about the people who are going through the same exact thing that I'm going through right now. And it's not easy. So, and I realize that whatever they need to hear is exactly, or whatever you need to hear is exactly what I need to do. Let me go ahead and drop this line. So I just want to let you know, or I want to let myself, and I want to let you know that, number one, you are important. I am important. You are worthy. I am worthy of people's time and love. I have a good heart. You have a good heart. And wherever that's coming from, the source is limitless. So it's our choice whether we're going to treat someone right or we're going to say something with the objective of hurting other people. And that's not how we roll. That's not how I roll, at least. So with that said, thank you for joining me today. It's truly a pleasure to do this episode. And I'm looking forward to the next one, where I will be discussing more of these kinds of conversations. And if you want to discuss or talk about something, feel free to comment down below, and I would love to hear from you. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and do so, and do catch me in my other shows, the Fiesta Diaries and the Incident Report, coming soon. So again, this has been Brian Christian, and I'm always reminding you guys to always be kind, always do good, and always be thankful, and keep yourself safe. And, thanks for joining. I'll see you again in the next episode of the Fiesta Life Podcast.
Show your love and support. Don't forget to hit subscribe, like, and comment down below.
So again, guys, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe. DJ Fiesta 8 is the name of the page. And you can expect more and more episodes to come your way, talking about these kinds of things and giving you some insights and encouragement, empowerment, and how to handle a really difficult relationship. So that's it for now. This is Brian Christian, reminding you to always be kind, always be thankful, always do good, and stay safe. And I'll see you guys again here at the Fiesta Life Podcast.
Don't thank me for the reality check. That's what I'm here for. It's my job to point out when the emperor has no clothes, or in this case, when the friend has no empathy. And yeah, subscribe, because we've got a lot more BS belief systems to call out. Till next time.
That kind of scares me. It's kind of like a reality check for me, actually, that, this is what it is. It is what it is, and it's about time to actually choose to love myself and to make sure that I'm surrounded by people who actually care and love me the way I do love them and care for them, And it sucks. It really sucks. But then I just want to thank you for your time. And I'll see you again next week. So again, guys, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe.